All right, another victory for the Canes. Another exciting game. A lot of crazy stuff going on. We are here live. We got the one mic situation, trying to avoid audio difficulties like we had last show. So we're doing it temptation style with the one mic. We had some issues before, fixed it. Thank you to everybody in the live chat who stuck with us. Man, just an awesome victory. And like I said, there it is. Miami strikes, the unfailing IT solution. Plug it out, plug it back in. That's how you get things done. We were about to blow on it like the old Nintendo cartridges.
There was nothing else I could have done. You just saw it. I did not do anything differently other than just unplug it. But D, I got to give you credit, as we said in the beginning when the audio was choppy. You've been saying since Miami landed Damian Martinez, he was a back who could finish ball games for Miami. It hasn't been the sexiest performances from him the first half of the season here, but you saw the tough run at the end of the game, and he's a guy who can finish ball games for this Miami offense. 12 carries, 89 yards, but it felt like more than that with the impact that he had on this game.
No question about it. I think that's why you brought him in for the fourth quarter. And if you really look at Louisville's offense, which, I mean, was outstanding. We saw Tyler Shuck. I think he's a really an NFL quarterback. That's my opinion of Shuck. He was getting pressure, and he moved a little bit better than I think people think. I do think if Shuck, when he goes to the NFL level in the draft process, he's going to show people this game because he made some really athletic plays to avoid sacks that, could have been drive-killing sacks. But really, to me, I think you saw, we'll get to the defense in a second, but just offense. I think you saw the difference between a very good offense and the absolute best offense in the country with Miami, which is the ability to not only make explosive pass plays, the ability to convert on third down. Of course, Heisman Trophy winning candidate, maybe winning, best quarterback in the country in Cam Ward. But you also have the ability to run and be physical. Very similar. And shout out to the person who made this comparison on CanesInSight.com. If you're not signed up there, 7 million posts and counting. This was one of them, and it was a great comparison. Lincoln Riley's Oklahoma teams. Secondary, you didn't know what you were going to get. You had good skill position, but you really had Heisman candidate quarterbacks, very strong physical running backs, good tight ends, and offensive line that protected the quarterback. And that, to me, is what this is looking like, an Oklahoma-style team that can win a lot of games. The difference is going to have to be Ruben Bain and Tyler Barron killing more drives than they did today. They were so close to killing a couple, some big conversions that we'll talk about here. But I think that's the direction. That's where we're at right now, that Oklahoma-Lincoln Riley era, which, look, these are playoff teams. And there's still meat on the bone, obviously, in the defensive end to get to an even higher level where you can actually compete for a championship.
And then Mark Fletcher, of course, started the game and was really effective in that first half and then early in the third quarter there. But one of the commenters said it here that Miami gave them 14 points. The kickoff return for touchdown was a huge momentum. I mean, it felt like Miami was about to take that game over in the third quarter there. I was here watching it with some buddies, and the air came out of the building a little bit, and then you fumble it the next play, and then they score a couple plays later. So the game flipped just like that. We've talked a lot about how Miami wanted to get ahead, and I think they were trending in that direction to be able to lean on the run game, as we saw late in the game there. But man, they just gave it right back to Louisville at a certain point in that game.
No, they were right. That was the time where they were going to pull away. You also had the situation where you had them on fourth down a couple times, and you get holding, pass interference, that really killed you. And those were, at least on one of those, there was a very good pass rush. I had to rewatch the game. Obviously, we're instant reacting. But on one of those pass interferences, Bain and Barron beat their man. This guy, Shuck, made a really athletic play just to get the ball out and make a play and get the pass interference. So they did it. Of course, you had the fake punt as well, which was a ballsy call by Coach Braun, but you knew he was going to do that. This was a team with Louisville that has a truly good offense that has produced consistently all year, and they had nothing to lose. So they were playing a little bit just, free and reckless almost with the idea of winning the game. So that's what you were dealing with the way they went for it on fourth down, the way they were going for it on the fake punt. It was a tough team to stop. The defense has a lot of issues, which we will talk about. But to me, the story is the balance of this offense. Like, Cam Ward didn't even hit his over on the bet.
Yeah.
I mean, he was amazing. He played like the best quarterback in the country as he's been doing. But it's not like he passed for less yards than you thought he might, just because he was doing such a nice job converting third downs, handing the ball off when he needed to, making the plays he needed to make to get in the paint. He got 4 touchdowns. And, of course, we scored a total of 45 points, plus the one fumble recovery. But he didn't have to do as much as he's done the last 2 weeks on his own.
D, you're 7-0 now. Obviously, we'll get into the defense a little bit, but you mentioned the pass interference there. Deani Hill had a call there late that, look, I know you've been to most of the games this year, so we weren't there live to actually see it, but it looked like on the TV replay that was definitely not a pass interference.
Yeah, look, we had a call on that the kick return that we backed them up and got the fumble for a touchdown. That was kind of iffy. So I mean, look, it was a game where I don't think we got screwed in any way. I mean, look, I think that was the right call on the incomplete pass, but it went our way. So, we can't complain about that. It was one of those just crazy games. It was a slugfest. I hate to use that cliche, but these were big shots. These are kick returns. These are fumble returns. These were explosive plays, which is a major problem for Miami that continues here. So the resilience, and again, to me, the balance on offense was the story for this game. You didn't have any major injuries. I think Inez Cooper's okay. I haven't heard anything post-game, but I know he was up and then he went down because he had the injury timeout already. So Cristobal just told him go down. I don't think he's that bad. If anyone's seen anything on Inez Cooper, let us know in the chat.
Herb Street broke FSU says drop the bank on Ben Hanks. DJ, brother, go watch our episode from a couple of days ago, man. You're a little behind the 8 ball there. Not to come at you a little bit there, but we did that already. D-Money already dropped the bank on that.
On that, I think if you ask me, I bet on us getting DJ Pickett. I'd say Ben Hanks 50-50, but trending our way. I might be having a different stat on that in a week where it's closer to, I think we get him. So I think, very good chance we get both. And look, the reason Miami is in this predicament on their defensive side of the ball, there's, I guess, a couple things, but really to me, the biggest reason is you just haven't recruited well enough in the secondary. We knew that when Adai was here. Every year we said, look, great class, secondary could be better. You miss those big time battles and you don't have first round type defensive backs that you see on other teams, the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Ohio States. That's important, right? Clemson has guys like that. So you really do need to do a better job at defensive back recruiting. Ben Hanks and Pickett fit into that. Obviously, you don't have them now, so you got to get the most out of what you have now. Do a better job with things like tackling, angles, miscommunications, like on that Shuck TD to Ja'Cory Brooks, which from just watching it on TV certainly looked like a case of communication issues, which you had last week as well, or last game as well, and the game before that. So a lot to clean up on the defensive end. This is not a good defense right now. Luckily, you have Ruben Bain, who's going to get a sack a game for the rest of the year. That helps. Barrett can get pressure. Simeon Barrow had a really, really good game. Kiko Manoa continues to not give, he's not in space. He's not where he needs to be. I know he wants to show more to the NFL scouts and obviously wants to show more for this defense right here. Just the open field tackling, I think, leaves a lot to be desired. This right now, this is an Oklahoma team, and that's a good thing overall. Those are top 5 teams, playoff teams, but I think there's a ceiling to how far you can go with that kind of team if you can't tighten up that defense and you don't have to be dominant in 2024, but just to get more stops to allow your elite offense to create some separation where now you could run the ball, not to score necessarily right away, but to control the game.
So D, something I wanted to get to here before we really we're touching on the defense a little bit, but get into some specific things here. Assad Hussein says, like how AJ Allen stayed ready when his number was called, and we were watching the game here, and man, he did not have a good first touch. It was early in the first quarter there, and they stuck with him, and he broke a couple there, man. And he was a really nice change of pace. We talk a lot about Fletcher and Martinez wearing down the defense a bit, and he was a really nice at the end of the game there, change of pace, like I said, to give a little bit of explosiveness to the offense.
First touch. You've been watching too much soccer with that.
Yeah,
with that reference.
Sorry,
but I agree with you, Pete. I mean, AJ Allen really stepped up. I texted someone close to him after the game just to say, hey, that was really impressive stepping up there. And all the running backs did. Fletcher had the fumble, which really hurt, but he set the tone early with some explosive runs and some physical play. I don't know, he must have run for like 5 first downs in this game, Fletcher. And of course, Martinez with the biggest run of the game, probably the biggest run of the season when you take everything into account of what went into that run. I know that he's been waiting for that. A good game for Sam Brown too. So looking at the positives, of course, the win, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the no injuries, really important, obviously. the fact that you got Martinez and Sam Brown going, your two big ticket items who have gotten criticism, they got here late, they've been trying to get going. What can you say? Martinez closed the game, and Sam Brown made some huge explosive plays that really hurt Louisville in the second half.
So flipping over to the defensive side of the ball, obviously that's what a lot of people want to talk about. The offense has been untouchable, really. I mean, they punted one time today, but Louisville could not stop them whatsoever. They were doing whatever they wanted at will. Mario goes for it a couple times deep in Miami's own territory, which was, I mean, that was great to see. And they were showing him on the sideline. He, as you saw, there was no doubt that Miami was going for it both times there. And they get the first. I think Fletcher got it both times. Maybe Martinez one of the times, but run it right up the middle both times. And listen, offensively, it's very tough to nitpick, especially this game, right? But defensively, we understand there are a lot of holes right now. Let's start with the defensive line. Ruben Bain, now a couple games back, had a couple pressures, had that sack there. Tyler Barron as well. And I think the pressure came into effect late in the game at times that, it wasn't a sack necessarily, but it affected Shuck in the pocket a bit there. But Simeon Barrow, to me, was the best player on the field today.
On defense, I totally agree. And look, overall, I think the team did a nice job stopping the run. There was the big explosive run by Isaac Brown from Miami Homestead, 43-yard touchdown. When you look at the numbers here, Louisville ran for 106 yards. So 21 rushing attempts. Miami was able to rush 40 times for 219 yards. So, Miami basically doubled the production of Louisville running the ball. And I think that made a difference. Again, these teams were both scoring a lot, but that made a slight difference there. In a perfect world, Miami's able to get a stop and then control the game with that running game, because they could have done it with the way they were running the ball. If they were able to develop a little bit of separation, maybe that kick return, like when that happened, they couldn't separate. If they could just separate, they could have ran the ball and controlled the game that way. Didn't happen, but they were able to run. And on defense, which you brought up, I think the front seven did a nice job stopping the run. Mauano with the off-field tackling, I know he wants to improve that. That's something that we'll be watching. I saw Justin Scott play. I saw Cole McConaughey play. Elijah Alston was back. So good.
Jalen Alderman had a nice play at the end of the game.
Jalen Alderman had a nice tackle. Bopo Aguirre played a lot of snaps in this game. I'd be curious to see the snap count when Trent Breeze posted on CanesInSight. That's going to be interesting. And then, Mauano's the open field tackling. I know he can do a better job, and I'm sure that's something he's really pushing himself to do a better job on. It ultimately came down to the secondary just not really having the statement game that you hope to see.
Yeah, I think Zaquan Patterson is going to continue to earn more snaps. He had a couple moments of flash in this game, as Eric Cooks points out here. And look, we've said it, you're replacing two veteran safeties, two guys who are playing in the NFL, James Williams, albeit at linebacker. But if you're going to play safety, and Mish Powell I thought he had some good moments today, but not to name any names, I would like to see a Zaquan Patterson get more snaps out there, because if there's going to be mistakes made from the mental standpoint back there, if there's going to continue to be, lapses in judgment, we'll call it, then let the young guy go out there and make his mistakes and try to make a play. Yeah,
lapses in judgment. As I watched Nico throw a pick here for Tennessee, some definite lapses in judgment with that young quarterback. I agree, Pete. I think Zaquan, you might as well just live with his mistakes. It's going to be easier in the games to come. This was a very tough game on the road. He did play also, so it's not like he didn't play this game, but you're dealing with a veteran quarterback who, to me, Shuck is the second best quarterback in the ACC. Klubnik is playing well. There's some good quarterbacks there, but to me, if I had to pick somebody to replace Ward with, and of course I wouldn't replace him with anybody if I could help it, the second choice to me in the ACC would be Shuck. I think he's better than Klubnik, although Klubnik's playing very good. I just think with his height, you saw the veteran experience. He's a 6-year player moving around. He did some really nice things and put a lot of pressure. So it's a tough game to really go full bore on as Zaquan. Now you come to a softer patch of the schedule. You do have to play Kyle McCord and Syracuse offense, but I agree. Let's get Zaquan out there. He can blitz. He can do a lot of things. But this is what happens. Look, Coach Adai was not a very good recruiter. We said it throughout his tenure on the show. I was excited when we first got him because every coaching clinic was like, this guy's a future pro coach. He just knows so much. And obviously he's in the pros now. with the Buffalo Bills, but the recruiting wasn't there, and he wasn't really on the same page as Guidry when he was here. So we are dealing with that bad recruiting. The portal's a hard place to get corners. Corners are such a premium position. To get like those NFL type guys, you really got to recruit them. Frederick's a good step in the right direction. I think he'll play more in these other games. Frederick will get back to playing the snaps he was. Of course, more Patterson. The recruiting's getting better on the defensive backfield, but not where it needed to be.
I wanted to bring up this comment here because it was really, to me, again, the story of the day. Martin Dube, our boy in I don't know if it's Botswana or Zimbabwe.
Yeah, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, let us know, Martin. But I know you've mentioned both before. So he said Miami won. What's with the doom and gloom in the comments? And it's funny, D, because we got a lot of stuff on social media where Canes fans were predicting Miami to lose, number one. And then we put our predictions out every week, and I think all of us pretty much had Miami covering the game or winning the game, right, in our predictions. But people are like, well, one-score game, I don't know about that. But Vegas had this as a 4.5-point spread at kickoff. So you look at what Vegas is saying, Miami covers a spread. They're almost, they had a couple opportunities there to get to, they had some fourth downs there to make stops there and possibly win by 2 scores. But again, Vegas had this as a 4.5-point game. Miami wins by a touchdown. Yeah,
I think I was the worst of the predictions this week, as I did think it would be a double-digit win, just because I thought we'd get. Appreciate you, Robert. Appreciate you.
Botswana. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
We got you, Martin.
So appreciate you, Robert, Work supporting the show. I thought it would be an even bigger win. I thought I knew Louisville was going to score, but I thought we'd kill more drives with a Ruben Bain, a holding penalty, a sack. Some of the opportunities that they didn't finish on, but they had these guys on the ropes. I thought we'd convert more of those, which would allow the offense to continue scoring at will, which they did in fact score at will. And we covered. Look, good teams win, great teams cover. Miami covers. Didn't feel like it for a while, but certainly Miami got the job done. By the way, shout out to Cinco Collective. Shout out to Canes Connection. Great event at Bodega at Miracle Mile. I saw a lot of you listeners there. Appreciate all of you that were there supporting. Got a lot of signups for Canes Connection, Miami's official and collective. If you want to support Canes Connection, CanesConnection.com/CIS is in the description. It's on our website. I do private Zoom calls for members. We're having a lot of fun. We gave away a Cam Ward football at the event. That's the kind of things we do for our members. And of course, our members are the reason why we have the players that can win us the game like this. So appreciate everybody that showed up at Bodega and said hi. It was really fun seeing everybody. Also want to shout out where I'm taking my kids probably tomorrow for breakfast. Islas Canarias Authentic Cuban Cuisine, the best Cuban restaurant in Miami, which means it's the best Cuban restaurant in the world. Established in 1977, still going. Everybody that is from out west or Cuban knows about Islas Canarias. It is the absolute best Cuban restaurant in the country. And look, they are now in Dayland Dining Pavilion, a.k.a. the food court. So if you're in the Dayland area, which most people are, centrally located, you pass by there at some point, go to the food court. You get high-level, high-end Cuban foods, 7 different types of croquetas. The best croqueta in Miami, voted by many publications repeatedly. They win it every year. Islas Canarias. And by the way, those Croqueta County shirts that you see me wearing, people are always asking, where can I get that Croqueta County shirt? CroquetaCounty.com, and they'll take care of you there. So appreciate you, Islas Canarias, and it's going to be some good eating, celebrating a victory Sunday.
So, D, let me look at the look, Louisville scored 28 points in the second half. I do think the defense was really put in some situations that were not advantageous.
Yeah, one of those was a kick return, right?
So yeah, one of them was a kick return. So and then the other one was they're on the 26-yard line after the fumble.
Right.
So.
And then a prevent defense on the last touchdown too, which you want to stop because that would have ended the game. So I'm not excusing that, but that was, part of the strategy there was not to give up an explosive play that didn't take time off the clock.
Yeah, look, Guidry's getting a lot of hate right now. I don't know if I necessarily agree with it. The defense has not been very good the last few games, but there's a lot that goes into it. I think they made some stops that were pretty important in that game at the end of the day.
We have some players that are high-end championship players. We have certain areas that we just need to improve by recruiting. But to me, I think really what you need to see, Pete, is miscommunicate. Like, Louisville puts a lot of pressure. Brom's the best play caller in the country, considered by many. And from what I've seen from when he's played Miami, and I've seen him play other teams as well, I would agree with that assessment. I think he is the best play caller in the country. And I think this quarterback is one of the best quarterbacks in the country, kind of a hidden secret. But I'm telling you right now, I've been saying it all week, Pete. You've heard me. He's going to get drafted. You will see Shuck get drafted, assuming the medicals and everything is fine. So
that's the only reason. I mean, they said it during the broad. I know you were at the watch party at Bodega, but they said it on the broadcast. The only reason he did not get more interest in the portal was because of the injury stuff. But you can see he's a very talented guy out there, and the experience came into play a lot. I mean, there were certain times where Miami was in zone covered, and he was really just taking what Miami was giving. He was not trying to do too much. So, and
the athleticism, I know you were surprised. I was by, and I like him, and I was surprised by his ability to maneuver and at least get an incomplete or a short completion on a play that probably should have been a sack at 6'6". By the way, I'm always a big proponent of, I think Miami needs to live in the portal for quarterbacks. Just live in the portal for quarterbacks. You still recruit high school guys and hope they hit, but you got to always be monitoring that portal market. Shuck is an example of a guy that is not the flashy guy like a Ward, and he's not as good as a Ward. Those Wards are somewhat rare, both in recruit. They're even rarer in recruiting than the portal. They're just rare, period. But if you got a guy like a Shuck, you can win a lot of games and score a lot of points with Shuck, with a good offensive line, good running backs, good tight ends, good receivers. Again, I like the quarterback we have, the best quarterback in the country, but that's just an example of some of the talent that is in the portal, especially when you surround the player like that with good talent, which I think we're going to be doing going forward with the way we're recruiting. But look, on the defensive backfield, tackling, angles, miscommunications. Again, the fourth quarter Ja'Cory Brooks TD stands out to me. The one that was right down the middle, and Mish Powell kind of had to cover up there at the end for someone else. Those are controllable things. Tackling, there's some athleticism involved, but I think you could tackle better than we've been tackling, especially against a guy like a Don Chaney. Some of the guys we're going against were not, Ryan Williams. So I think those sort of things, if there could be improvement before you get to the ACC championship game in those areas, and look, that's not a guarantee either. There's been a lot of surprises this year, but if you can just continue steadily improving the controllables, you're not going to have first rounders in the secondary, but you can play better than we saw today by just eliminating some of those missed tackles, missed assignments, miscommunications, and again, controllable things.
The U says Brooks is a real deal. Yeah, Ja'Cory Brooks had a really good game today and having a really nice season for them up there at Louisville. I want to get to real quick. Just want to get to Fresh 3542 says, why didn't we get corners in the portal, top corners? You tell me who were the top portal corners out there. I mean, you tell me who's out there. I don't know, as a portal guy doing something elsewhere, because I guarantee you Miami would have been all over them and probably would have landed them. So
yeah, that's a position you really have to recruit. That's
Herb Street had a good point. He said elite corners are rarely in the portal. Yeah,
you got to recruit defensive linemen and defensive tackle, like 270-plus-pound guys. Let's call it that on the D line, and then elite defensive backs, corners in particular. You got to recruit those guys. You got to get those premium physical talents in recruiting. Alabama does it every year. Georgia does it every year. Ohio State does it every year. Clemson does it pretty often. That's really where you got to live from a recruiting standpoint. And I think Adai just wasn't a very good recruiter, and we're feeling the effects of that. I think Chevis Jackson's starting to correct that. Ben Hanks, DJ Pickett would go a long way. OJ Frederick's going to be a really, really good player for the Canes. Daquan Patterson, Hilton Stubbs. That's what Miami needs to do more of here coming up, just to really fill out that secondary room from a talent perspective. And by the way, we don't have Damari Brown. Every team has injuries, so it's not like this is woe is us. We've actually been pretty lucky, I think, with injuries. But not having Damari Brown all season at your weakest position makes a difference, because Damari Brown, I promise you, he can tackle, he can hit, he's athletic. You saw him against Florida. He had some really nice plays down the field to set the tone in that game. He's missed. When you're not strong in a position, your most talented NFL-type quarter, your highest-rated recruit, goes out. Doesn't help the situation. But Miami tried out at defensive back. They brought in Deani Hill, and they really, really wanted a nickel. That was really what they went
Pons,
down to.
There's some comments here. Pons was, a guy they wanted for sure, but would he have been the absolute answer at defensive back? I mean, I think it would have helped for sure.
Yeah, they wanted him. I think he went with his coach.
Caleb Downs. I mean, listen, he went from Bama to Ohio State. You can't win them all. I mean,
now look, Ohio State got Will Howard and Downs. And they got a lot of guys. So Ohio State went crazy spending in the portal on top of recruiting better than pretty much everybody before then. They don't have Cam Ward. So, Cam Ward was not cheap. These big ticket, you only have so many bullets. And I think for a guy like that, Ohio State's produced a lot of defensive backs. Alabama has as well. So if you're Miami trying to convince a guy like that, not only do you have to pay premium dollars, you got to pay a premium on top of that because you got to, you don't have the track record to sell.
You can't even get Caleb Downs on NCAA 25, man. I mean, listen, it's not, listen, it is, there is some free agency aspect to it, but you can't get every guy like that. I wish you could. It's a little bit unrealistic to think that a Caleb Downs was going to come here, but
you got to sign those guys.
Right. And listen, they're on those sort of talents, right? So you continue to win, and I expect things to change there. But
I want to get this one comment right here, and this is exactly right. So Mark MC says missed out on Greedy Vance. I can tell you, knowing the whole story on that was somebody that was this close to coming that they thought would have just slid into the nickel and then moved everybody back a spot, allowed Daryl Porter to play more on the outside. It would have just put a lot of pieces together. I don't even know how he's playing this year. I didn't really watch them, but I know that was who they wanted to fill that nickel spot. They wanted Ponce too. They wanted nickel. And now when they went and assessed, and I said it on the podcast back in whenever the portal closed, Pete, we talked about it on the show. Every grocery item was checked except for that nickel corner, and we're seeing it.
And look, it's easy for us to sit back and analyze all of this now, but you're still missing probably your best guy and Damari Brown too. So I mean, it's easy for us to continue to criticize this, and a lot of improvement needs to be made there. But you're missing your best guy, guys. We have almost 1,500 on right now. Please go like and subscribe. I know a lot of you guys are on Twitter right now, but we're also on YouTube. So please go to our YouTube page. I think it's CanesInSight 305. Let me find out what it is exactly.
Official
CanesInSight.
Yes, sorry. We should know that. What are you doing out here?
Whoops. I think it was something like that before. But turning the page a little bit here, as we're almost 30 plus minutes into the show now. Florida State next week. Bad loss for them last night against Duke, but we understand it's a rivalry game. Mike Norvell, very shaky situation right there for them and their program. But you would like to see Miami really, just take it to them next week, right?
I mean, I'm just so happy right now. It's what time is it? It's not even late. What time is it? 5:18.
Yeah, 5:18.
So we get the noon game out the way, enjoy our night, and just get ready for this week of just feeling the suffering of FSU fans. And we talked about that. We said, listen, I've seen crazier things. These guys can cause some problems. They have very good defensive backs talent-wise. They have very good defensive line talent-wise. The only way you're going to stop an offense like Cam Ward and then this Miami Hurricane offense is by getting pressure with the front four and then having good defensive backs that can cover. Those things are still technically true, but man, to lose to Duke, to have total lack of confidence in Brock Glenn. Now they got a quarterback controversy between 2 and 3. Are they going to try the true freshman out there? Are they going to try to block Ruben Bain and Tyler Barron and Simeon Barrow for a true freshman, or is it going to be Brock Glenn who just threw 3 picks in 3 plays? They got a tough task, man. And we've seen Miami. We saw Manny Diaz completely humiliate Norvell back with Miami. Obviously, he did it Friday. We saw Manny humiliate Norvell with Miami in the Rock. We saw Norvell come back and humiliate Mario in the Rock when Mario was really just working with a team that didn't have much talent. Now it's revenge for Mario, and I suspect he's going to really want to put the pressure on and humiliate these guys and sort of make sure no transfer portal kid could ever want to go to to Florida State that Miami wants, because Miami beats them so thoroughly they'll just say, hey, listen, check the score on October 26th.
Yeah, and look, I said the other day that Florida State game was my bold prediction, that one of my bold predictions for the season, that let me pull up the comment here, that Florida State would be the toughest game. And obviously this was a shootout today. And look, I don't know if it's going to be the same outcome, but yeah, Florida State always is going to be. Listen, you look at how they've performed on the year, and it has been very ugly, but I flipped the situation to last year, and I see a Miami team that wasn't as bad as that Florida State team, without a doubt, but you had a freshman quarterback on the road against a top 5 undefeated team. they're going to come to play. I think that they have some guys up front. Whether they have performed or not this year, we're not even going to debate it. There is no debate. They have not performed.
Right.
But they have actual NFL bodies up front. And you saw today, at times, Louisville got after – Miami still scored 52 points. But when Cam Ward did have issues, it was when Louisville was winning up front a bit. So – I expect a 17 to 24-point win for Miami next week, but we'll see.
And I don't want Cam Ward running around like crazy like he did today. I mean, this is not an offense you have to keep up with to that extent. So, running the ball, play action, tight ends, you're still going to make explosive plays, and you're still going to do all that. But I don't want, don't give Patrick Payton a shot to get a free shot at Cam Ward or Farmer or Jackson or Marvin Jones. They can do it. So there's going to be some of that. There always will be. But, I would have a more conservative game plan that we saw this week, because I think a conservative game plan is still going to score a lot of points with explosive runs and play action and tight ends and run after catch and just punishing these guys until they quit.
Just Jay, I'm not saying Miami wins 24-17. I think Miami wins by 17 or 24 points. I'm not saying it's going to be a 24-17 victory. So
they're asking me here, what was the drink of choice today, D-Money? A little beluga action. I don't drink alcohol anymore. So, shout out to Alec at Bodega. He hooked me up. I was drinking those little soda water. What's the bubbly water from Mexico? It comes in a bottle.
Topo Chico.
Topo Chico, man. I had like about 20 Topo Chicos, man. I was in the bathroom every single change of possession. But Topo Chico, man, and Alec, appreciate you hooking me up. And everybody at Bodega was awesome. It was an awesome event. Really a lot of fun.
So, guys, again, we have almost 1,600 here live. Please like and subscribe. We go live, not live every day, Monday through Friday, but we have a show Monday through Friday. We go live every Wednesday with Mike Ryan. Then we usually throw another live in also, but we have shows every Monday through Friday. So follow us on official CanesInSight on YouTube. Like us, subscribe to us, and then we're on every other social media out there as well.
And we got CanesInsight.com with 7 million posts and counting, the biggest website of the Canes on the planet by far in terms of traffic, not even close, and it's free. So what you're missing, Trenton Breeze, my boy out here, a lot of pregame coverage on the site. If you have not checked it out yet, Breeze is working. I've never seen somebody post stories so fast like Breeze, man. I can't even keep up with it. The guy, there's just something happens in the Canes world. He's posting it before I could even think. Someone proposes to his girlfriend in the stadium. He's got a picture and a story up immediately. That's Breeze right there. Shout out to him and everything he's doing. He was there. The guy he was sitting beside was on a 6 beer. Yeah, Breeze was at
only 6. Come on, man.
Yeah, we got to ask Breeze for his live thoughts after this. But someone's saying Cali sober. I call it Miami Beach sober, but that's how we do it out there. So, big picture, Pete, going forward. Florida State.
Hold on. Let's get to Carlos Enriquez's comment
Big
here.
C,
the dancing bear.
Yeah. So biggest recruit this year is Joe Echeverria as our president. Let's talk about that. I put that out a little early. My wife worked for you. I actually got an email. We put it out. Talk to people in the administration. The big thing with this is you have an outsider, meaning a non-academic, coming in. This guy's from Deloitte, the CEO. It's a different mode of operation with him. He's going to come in and possibly change some things, shake things up, come with a different perspective. Me personally, I think that is much needed to have somebody from the outside world, a non-academic, making these decisions, somebody that comes from the real world, for lack of a better way to say it. For athletics, which most people is what they care about on this show, Joe Echeverria was part of the team with Rudy Fernandez. They got blessed by President Frank, but really those guys were driving the ship to bring in Mario Cristobal to increase investment in athletics. With all those stuff flying around, with realignment, with the private equity, all these things, this guy Echeverria has more business experience than pretty much any president that you could put out there. He's had more success. He has more experience. He's more accomplished. He knows that world. So in this transition from college athletics, amateur college athletics, to professional college athletics, you can't ask for a better person with a better perspective for the real world considerations. Plus, he loves sports and has been pushing extremely hard to improve athletics and infrastructure. And look, you've seen the results on the field. Joe Echeverria was a big reason for that. Go read all the articles when Mario first got here, and you'll see his name. It's a great great addition and a great president.
Kyle SCGA 21 says, who coaches special teams? Look, it was not a good day for special teams. They had the kick return for touchdown, the fake punt as well, which I got a couple texts about that too. But Mario said out of the interview, I don't know if it was after the third quarter interview going into the fourth quarter, he said, we knew it was coming. We have to stop it. So listen, we want to blame the coaches for everything. It's very tough. Guys were in position to make tackles when it comes to the kick return there. And then Mario said they knew it was coming. So it's hard to say, look, guys, we're not in position for that play. So obviously the coach is always going to be at fault in some capacity, but it's tough for me to blame the special teams for this.
Look, I mean, special teams coach, you mean?
Special teams coach.
Yeah, I mean, look, you finished the game on special teams with the onside kick, so it was good and bad. You made a huge field goal with Borregales. He's a stud. It's something they're going to have to focus on and correct. I'm sure it's not the smoothest. It's going to be the smoothest week for Coach Coulter as far as he's going to want to make a lot of changes. But look, Miami's been a good special team unit the last couple of years, and I think
we're 7 games into the season, and this is the first we're complaining about the unit.
This was a crazy game, too. Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those games. I thought they were going to get the onside kick, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Coach Jenko, D, I've been pounding that Target watermelon lime sparkling waters all season. It's been good luck so far, keeping it going. Listen, tomorrow morning, when me and you are waking up fresh as a daisy, watching all these highlights and drinking our coffee, some other people are not going to be so spry.
Yeah.
So shout out to sparkling water. There we go. I see some of those people are here right now.
Yeah, the onside kick, and you had Restrepo wearing 43.
Oh my God! The fact that I had to go on Wednesday's show and argue with Mike Ryan about who the best receiver in the ACC is. Is there anybody in this chat? If you disagree with me, let me know in this chat. Is there anybody in this chat that doesn't think that Xavier Restrepo is the best wide receiver in the ACC? I mean, how could you not? The guy, not only does he make contested catches as a shorter guy. I mean, this guy's making these, big boy Colby Young catches as the small guy. Not only is he making all the reliable catches, which of course, fourth down, everything else, we know who's getting the ball. Not only is he running after the catch, this guy's averaging like 18 yards per. He made a huge explosive play today. I don't know how he keeps finding his way downfield wide open, but this is a guy that makes explosive plays. So the stereotype of, the Edelman, the Welker, which that'd be a great career if he could have it in the pros. But the idea that he can only get, first downs, short yardage, this is a guy who's making explosive, game-changing plays. He's making contested catches. He's running after the catch, and he's doing all the slot receiver stuff. Xavier Restrepo is the best wide receiver in the ACC. And I would say when you eliminate the freaks of nature, Ryan Williams, Jeremiah Smith, AJ Green and Julio Jones reincarnated, the 2 best players in the country, along with Travis Hunter, Cam Ward, and Ashton Jeanty. Take those guys out of the equation. I wouldn't trade Xavier Restrepo for anybody.
Chip Briere, man, a legend of Miami Hurricanes past, man. He says, Pete, better see you at the School of Calm event Friday. Go Canes. Dude, I don't know what the event is, man. You got to hit me up. I'm out of the loop, man. I don't know. I'm out of touch with the I guess the Alumni Association for the Calm School. So hit me up, man. I'll reach out to you and see what's going on, but would love to be there.
Shout out to Chip Briere. CanesInSight community loved him when he was working down here. I saw him at the Gator game. Great guy.
So, yeah, man, we'll get to a few more things before we wrap it up here, but Xavier Restrepo, you've talked about it, but his catch radius, man, it was on display today. He had one drop down the field, and then obviously that other one on the third down that looked like it could have been a catch, hit the ground.
They knocked it out. I mean,
it was a tough play to make.
If the DB wasn't there on the spot, and great play by the DB, he had the ball, so he would have caught it if not for the DB dislodging it. So that was really a good play by the DB. Maybe he could have caught it initially, but and then the one that he dropped, I mean, that was a heck of a play. If he would have caught that would have been a twisting, spectacular catch. But you expect him to make those. He's made those in practice before.
Charles Johnson, like the catcher, like CJ, the great Miami Hurricane catcher and Marlins catcher.
Well, appreciate you, whichever Charles Johnson that is, appreciate you. I mean, I agree. All conference, all American caliber season for Xavier Restrepo. I mean, it's not just the workman-like plays. It's the explosive, game-changing plays. We saw it against Louisville. We saw it against Cal. We all know what he did against Virginia Tech. This is a guy that changes the game. It's not just Mr. Reliable, Johnny Tryhard. This guy's an impact player. And look, Sam Brown joined him there today. By the way, shout out to Isaiah Horton, giving you a big body on those slants. He had the great touchdown catch, great pass by Cam Ward on the touchdown, that short pass where he placed it perfect. But then also that third down catch was a huge play at that point of the game for momentum. Isaiah Horton should continue to be a reliable option, probably the second most reliable receiver on the team. And we haven't even talked about this play, Pete. It happened so early. The touchdown from Cam Ward to Jacoby George, kind of a replay of the UF play.
Yeah,
game.
Same. That's what I said when we were watching it here. Yeah.
I mean, that's how you know that somebody is having a special season when that happens. And we didn't even talk about it till what are we, like 45 minutes into the podcast? So, I mean, man, unbelievable.
I'm just looking at the box score right now, and it looks like a video game box score. It's really crazy. I mean, Miami put up double digits in every quarter and 14 in the second, third, and fourth there. So really, really just a consistent.
But go back. I want to point something out here. So really, this game could have been a better outcome for Miami in terms of when you look at third down efficiency. Miami 9 for 15, 2 for 2 on fourth down. Louisville 3 for 12 on third down, but then they had 3 for 3 on fourth down, and they had the fake punt. There were times where Miami could have gotten off the field and something happened.
2 fourth down conversions on the last drive there.
Yep. So it could have been worse because Miami was scoring every time they touched the ball unless they turned it over or something weird happened. So if Miami just had a couple more of those drive killers finish, you would have seen, I think, more of like a 14-point spread, which I believe is what I had in my pick, something in the low double digits, just because I thought Miami would get a couple extra possessions, either with the Ruben Bain sack or a fumble or a holding that would allow them to create that spread.
Yeah, 2 punts and then the Mark Fletcher fumble. So those were the 3 times that Miami did not end their drives. With scores there, Borregales 55-yard field goal probably would have been good by 60 plus. So, I mean, look, great performance offensively. They continue to score points. Probably could have been 60 plus as we were just referencing there, but should be a fun week here, Diaz.
Before we sign off, I want to shout someone out. Markel Bell down the stretch was playing left tackle. Jalen Rivers playing left guard. I watched, if you guys saw it on the replay, I think McCoy went in at right guard when Inez Cooper got nicked up. But Markel Bell, a lot of confidence for him to come into the game when Jalen Rivers is still healthy. Jalen Rivers moving to left guard. So all this talk about Markel Bell, why is he getting all these reps during these early season games? I mean, I guess we knew why he was getting the reps, but everyone was ready for him to not play anymore. Now Miami chooses to play Markel Bell in a must-win situation with Jalen Rivers healthy. That's telling. That was not just get him some snaps. That was at the end of the game when Miami really, really needed to win the game. And they were able to get Markel Bell in. He did a really nice job. So Markel Bell, shout out. He's someone that's got some Markel Bell, Sam Brown, David Martinez. These are guys that haven't had criticism during this undefeated streak, at least on the offensive end. And I think all 3 of those guys had really nice performances today.
And we've been saying that Bell was going to play, and people are like, "Oh, how's it going to fit in?" Listen, when the staff likes a player, especially at the offensive line position, they're going to make it work, right? So, like you said, very telling there at the end. We had a comment here that Miami needs tall receiver. Let me see where it was. We need a tall receiver. Isaiah Horton, we just said they threw it to him in some pretty big situations as a big body guy on that touchdown on the 3rd and 9, I think it was. So, look, you need a mix. You need a little bit of everything at the wide receiver position. And Sam Brown, did we mention his name one time on the show today? 3 catches for 125 yards, and then
I mentioned it a few times, but you're locked in.
But you talk about the explosive plays that he makes, right? And it's just like he has a different ability, right?
Yep. No, after the catch, it's different. The speed. He is an explosive player. He's the fastest of the guys, Jacoby George. So just that the ball skills and the tracking to make plays down the field. Isaiah Horton, your tough, reliable, bigger receiver, and then Xavier Restrepo, Christian McCaffrey, playing through wide receiver. It's really, I mean, he's not as fast as McCaffrey. McCaffrey was returning punts to the crib, more of an explosive player with the ball in his hands than then Restrepo, but just the overall kind of football player. He's a running back out there, man. When those couple plays where they threw him a short pass and he had to break a tackle or at least finish with physicality to get the first down, everybody knew he was going to get it.
I thought he was going to score on that touchdown where he almost had his
close.
balance, deep there, but didn't happen. But
listen, great win. Like just Jay saying in the comments, every win equals improvement. This is a happy Miami Hurricane team, a happy plane ride, a healthy plane ride from everything I've seen. It's FSC week, guys. So stay tuned to CanesInSight podcast. Like and subscribe. We're on every single day. We got Mike Ryan on Wednesdays. We're on every day, me and Pete, breaking it down. That's recruiting news, as always, with the bank. We're going to give that to you. And then the message boards, man, CanesInSight.com. You could argue all day. 7 million posts and counting people are on there all day, just arguing, celebrating. Today, more celebrated than arguing, but you'll get both, believe me. So a lot of fun. Appreciate everybody's support. Everybody was at the Bodega event. And go Canes.
Go Canes.